The Girl Scouts in the news because the left has once again shown their hypocrisy, showing that they really don't care about women's rights. All these talk about caring about equal rights, caring about the progression of women, and all that other stuff, they don't care about. All they care about is pushing whatever their radical agenda is. But before we get in that, my name is Greg Foreman, and you're watching a Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and most importantly, share a Black Conservative Perspective, aka a leftist worst nightmare. You can also follow me on Twitter at GForemanBCP. Let's get it. All right, guys. So, Girl Scouts in the news. Yesterday, they had made a somewhat controversial tweet in which they congratulated Miss Amy Coney Barrett for getting confirmed to become the 5th woman appointed to the Supreme Court since 1789. And in their post, they outline all the women in history that were Supreme Court justices. I mean, this is just a celebration of basic historical facts. And as you can imagine, the left got upset and started crying like babies because the Girl Scouts posted this, and they subsequently folded and took the post down. The Girl Scouts followed up after taking this down and basically said, earlier today, we shared a post highlighting the 5 women who have been appointed to the Supreme Court. It was quickly viewed as a political and partisan statement, which were not our intent, and we have removed the post. The Girl Scouts of USA is a non-political, non-partisan organization. We are neither red nor blue, but Girl Scout green. We are here to uplift girls and women. All right, and some of the criticism regarding the tweet, obviously, again, came from the far left with Ayanna Presley asking, what kind of patch does one earn for uplifting a woman who is the antithesis of justice? Another Facebook post, Noel Mickelson, it was like, reminder, there's no requirement that we celebrate someone as a hero to women simply because she identifies as a woman, especially when the thing she did was actually done for her by a gang of disgraceful goons, and when she is poised to destroy the lives of many people. The same old criticisms, guys. Another Twitter user, a lifelong Girl Scout, also criticized the post. I already felt uneasy as a trans person in this organization, but now I really understand that with this message that Girl Scouts really do not support me or my trans LGBTQ siblings, the person added. But there were also some conservative women who countered this and basically said she didn't trash the Girl Scouts when they didn't agree with the things that were against her beliefs. When other conservatives trash Girl Scouts for leftist ideas, she defended it. She added, now I see it being trashed by the so-called tolerant left for uplifting a female to the Supreme Court. That is disappointing. Those of you bashing the organization, please remember that there are conservatives that support Girl Scouts too. I was grateful to see the post in support of women, regardless of who they are. And this is why I say that facts have become political. It is a fact that Amy Coney Barrett is the 5th woman to sit on the Supreme Court. And apparently, if you state that simple fact, you are being partisan and political. And this is where we're at in society, guys. And it's really a damn shame because, where do we go from here? I mean, in the history books, are we just going to leave her out because she's a conservative or an originalist, which they say is racist? Right, being an originalist is racist is where a lot of the criticism of ACB comes from. And guys, let me address that for a little bit. I am not a constitutional scholar by any stretch of imagination. I am somebody who wants to learn and that is open-minded to learning more about this type of stuff, right? I started reading more deeper arguments in regards to originalism versus living constitutionalism. And I think that Neil Gorsuch made a great defense for originalism and helps anybody who really doesn't understand what it is understand exactly what it is. Take a look.
Senator, first of all, a good judge starts with precedent and doesn't reinvent the wheel. So to the extent there are decisions on those topics, and there are, a good judge respects precedent. That's the first point. Second point I'd make is it would be a mistake to suggest that originalism turns on the secret intentions of the drafters of the language of the law. The point of originalism, textualism, whatever label you want to put on it, what a good judge always strives to do, and I think we all do, is strive to understand what the words on the page mean, not import words that come from us, but apply what you, the people's representatives, the lawmakers, have done. And so when it comes to equal protection of the laws, for example, it matters not a whit that some of the drafters of the 14th Amendment were racists, because they were, or sexist, because they were. The law they drafted promises equal protection of the laws to all persons. That's what they wrote. And the original meaning of those words, John Marshall Harlan captured them in his Dissent in Plessy. And equal protection of the laws does not mean separate in advancing one particular race or gender. It means equal. And as I said yesterday, I think that guarantee, equal protection of the laws guarantee, the 14th Amendment, that it took a civil war for this country to win, is maybe the most radical guarantee in all of the Constitution, and it may be all of human history. It's a fantastic thing. And that's why it's chiseled in Vermont marble above the entrance to the Supreme Court of the United States.
Guys, this stuff is complicated. Neil Gorsuch is basically making an originalist argument for why the 14th Amendment protects equal rights for everybody. And I've seen plenty of originalist arguments that agree with Brown versus Board of Education from an originalist perspective, citing the 14th Amendment. I've seen those arguments. I've seen arguments against it. I've also heard arguments, and this is a funny one, that the last thing that you will want is a racist living constitutionalist. I've also heard that, which is funny to me. So again, people got to understand this stuff is complicated. It's not black and white. And you would think that the leftists will understand this, as they believe that gender is on the spectrum. So they should also understand that how one interprets the Constitution as an originalist is also on a spectrum. This is really an argument that people are having that have no idea what they're talking about. They don't know anything about originalism. They don't know anything about the modern day constitutional arguments or the court cases. There's so many people on social media that are going back and saying, well, you know, the 3/5 compromise is racist. And it's like, well, if you really understand true originalism, you understand that that becomes irrelevant with the Reconstruction Amendments. So like Neil Gorsuch said, it doesn't really matter if the founders was racist, because we've amended the Constitution. And again, I feel like that's a solid argument, in my opinion. And I think there's a lot of people on social media that are going back and forth and have so much hate and vitriol for this woman who don't understand what they're talking about. They haven't read anything. They haven't at least tried to educate themselves to try to have an open mind in terms of what does this actually mean. ACB has 2 black children, guys. How can she be a racist when she has 2 black children? That anybody force her to get 2 black children? She said that she cried after the George Floyd incident with her daughter. Come on now. So obviously she can't be the flaming racist that they're painting her to be. And I just think that a lot of people they just get so caught up in their ideological and radical agendas that they don't stop and take a step back to understand, okay, who is this woman actually? Have you actually read up on her opinions? Do you actually know exactly where she's coming from and what her judicial philosophy actually means? Half of them couldn't even explain what originalism is without using the word racist. They couldn't even tell you. They couldn't give you the first clue. So I think a lot of this is overblown, and it's sad and disappointing to see the Girl Scouts give in to political pressure. The mission of the Girl Scouts, guys, is to build girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. You're supposed to be building women, uplifting women. ACB being confirmed on the court is a historical accomplishment for women. If you're truly about women's rights, you should be able to celebrate the advancement of women regardless of what side of the aisle they come from. And just because a woman is conservative and doesn't necessarily support abortion doesn't make her against women's rights. She's not going to vote to reverse the advancement of women. I think the problem is that people associate abortion with the advancement of women. I'm not saying we can't have an argument about that. We can. But I think they married the two way too closely to the point where they ignore obvious signs of women advancement, such as becoming a Supreme Court justice. Now, if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris happen to win, and Kamala Harris becomes the first woman vice president of the United States, that's an accomplishment for women. That's a big deal for women. There's nothing wrong with that. And there should be nothing political about stating basic facts. It's not political. It's just a fact. If that comes true, I hope it doesn't happen, right? But if it does happen, then it's okay to state the fact and to be done with it because it's a fact. But this is where we're at in the world, guys, with this type of stuff. So, I think the Girl Scouts need to man up a little bit and defend themselves and to say, hey, we celebrate women across all aisles of the political spectrum. That would truly be consistent and not give in to the leftist mob that wants to dictate and control free speech. That's what they should do. A fact is a fact. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share it. A Black Conservative Perspective. Peace.